The richest patient I ever treated couldn't afford what his dying daughter needed most, and neither could I. I would give it all away for more time with her, he said, his eyes filled with tears. The man standing in front of me now was completely unrecognizable from the one that had stepped into my office the first time I met Mia Murati. That day, Mr. Murati had walked in wearing a suit that cost more than my monthly mortgage. Phone in one hand, leather portfolio in the other. He'd been on a conference call right up until I introduced myself. "Give me 1 second, Tokyo can wait," he'd said into the phone before extending his hand. Behind him, Mia stood quietly, 16 years old, wearing a Stanford hoodie, pale and thin, stage 4 lymphoma. I'd reviewed her charts. The prognosis was bad. She had maybe 6 months. During our first consultation, Mr. Murati treated her diagnosis like a business problem, asked about success rates, treatment options, experimental trials, took notes on his phone. Money's no object, whatever she needs. Mia barely spoke, just stared at her hands while her father discussed her mortality and percentages and protocols. After 40 minutes, I finished my assessment. Mr. Murati nodded, already checking his phone. "I have a flight to San Francisco in 2 hours. Mia, you okay to Uber home?" She'd just been told she was dying, and he was asking if she could Uber home. "Actually," I said, "I'd like Mia to stay for some additional tests." "You should stay." He'd frowned, checked his calendar, made a call to reschedule something, stayed for 20 minutes before another emergency pulled him away. That was 6 months ago. The man standing in front of me now wouldn't leave her side for anything. The second time Mr. Murati came to my office, he was different. On time, phone turned off, sat through the entire appointment without checking emails. Mia noticed. "Who are you and what did you do with my father?" She joked, but her eyes were uncertain, like she didn't trust it yet. He started showing up every day, brought breakfast, sat through her treatments, asked her questions about school, friends, life. At first, she gave one-word answers, suspicious of the sudden attention. "Why now?" she finally asked him during one of my rounds. "Why do you suddenly care?" "I always cared. You had a funny way of showing it." I left them alone, started seeing this pattern in every visit. Mr. Murati trying desperately to connect, Mia keeping walls up. Years of abandonment couldn't be erased in weeks, but slowly, things shifted. I noticed small changes. Mia laughing at something he said, falling asleep with her head on his shoulder during chemo, asking him to stay longer. "He told me about my grandmother today," she mentioned during an examination. "I never knew she was an artist. He never talked about his family before. Maybe he's learning it's not too late to start." "It is too late though, isn't it? I'm dying. I couldn't lie to her." "Yes, I wish I had more time to get to know him. The real him, not the businessman, the dad." 4 months in, Mia started keeping a journal. Mr. Murati found it once by accident, saw she'd written, "Today, Dad stayed the whole day. No phone calls, no emergencies, just us." He showed it to me in the hallway, tears in his eyes. 6 months ago, she wouldn't have called me Dad. She called me my father like I was a stranger. "You were a stranger." "I know, and now that I'm finally here, she's leaving." The final month, Mia's condition deteriorated rapidly. More pain, less energy, harder to stay awake. But Mr. Murati never left. Slept in a chair beside her bed, read to her when she was too weak to talk, held her hand through every painful moment. I watched a 16-year-old girl forgive her father one day at a time, and I watched a father realize what he'd almost lost forever. The last week, Mia barely stayed awake. When she did, she was disoriented, in pain, struggling. Mr. Murati read to her, played music, talked to her even when she couldn't respond. On what would be her final day, she had a moment of clarity, rare for patients this far gone. She opened her eyes, saw her father, smiled. "Hey Dad," his voice broke. "Hey sweetheart, how are you feeling?" "Like I'm dying." She laughed weakly at her own joke. "I need to tell you something. Anything. Do you remember that journal you found? The one where I wrote about you staying all day?" "Yes. I want you to know that's what I needed. Not the treatments, not the experimental trials, not the specialists." She took a shaky breath. "I just needed my dad, and you gave me that. These last 6 months, I finally had a father." Mr. Murati was openly crying. "I'm so sorry I wasted so much time." "Don't be sorry. Just promise me something. Anything. Promise me you'll remember this. That when you meet other parents, other fathers who are always working, always busy, always one more deal away, you'll tell them their kids need them now, not later, not when it's too late. I promise." "Good." She closed her eyes, smiled. "I love you, Dad. I love you too, Mia. So much." Those were the last words she said. She died that evening, peacefully, with her father holding her hand. In the end, what she needed most wasn't something money could buy. It was just him, present, finally there. And he'd given her that, even if it was almost too late. That night I left the hospital 3 hours early, went home, and asked my son about his day. And when he looked surprised I was home for dinner, I finally understood what Mia had been trying to tell her father all along.